There's a painting that almost no one knows about, and it was made by Michelangelo when he was just 12 years old. But don't expect something childish or innocent. What he painted was a dark, terrifying scene, filled with demons attacking a man suspended in the air. A work so intense that for centuries, no one believed it could have come from a child. For a long time, this painting wasn't attributed to him. For centuries, it was believed to be the work of an anonymous artist who was supposedly just copying a famous piece from Northern Europe. No one imagined that behind those winged demons, those scaly and clawed creatures, was the brush of a child. And not just any child, but Michelangelo, at only 12 years old. But how could a child that age create something like this? What did he see? What did he feel? What did he live through to paint such a vision? Since he was a child, Michelangelo had an obsession that set him apart from other kids. He didn't just draw, he copied sculptures, painted faces, practiced anatomy. There was something in his gaze that others didn't quite understand, but couldn't ignore either. His father didn't want him to become an artist. Art was the work of craftsmen, not something for someone with a respectable surname. But when he saw there was no stopping him, he allowed Michelangelo to apprentice in the workshop of one of the greatest painters of the time, Domenico Ghirlandaio. Ghirlandaio wasn't just any master. He had worked in the main churches of Florence and was renowned for his ability to tell stories through enormous frescoes filled with detail and life. His workshop was a hive of commissions, which meant one thing: constant work and intense learning. There was no rest. Backgrounds were painted, colors were mixed, sketches were transferred onto damp walls, and most of all, students learned by watching. And there was Michelangelo, not yet a prodigy, just one more among the others. But that wouldn't last long. Ghirlandaio quickly noticed something unusual about this boy. He didn't just work fast, he understood the human form with an unnatural ease. He didn't need to copy like the others. He saw the body, analyzed it, and recreated it with a confidence that was almost frightening. That was the environment that shaped him. A workshop filled with religious art, moving figures, tension in the hands, expression in the faces, and that left a mark on how he saw the world, not as decoration, but as a constant battle between the human and the divine. That's why, when the time came to paint his first work, Michelangelo didn't choose a simple scene. He chose to depict a battle between a saint and his demons. The painting is called The Torment of Saint Anthony, and if you look at it for the first time without knowing anything, you'd never guess it was painted by a child. At the center of the image, floating in midair, is Saint Anthony the Abbot, an elderly monk with a face that looks tense yet serene. He is suspended, as if reality itself had dissolved. But what truly strikes you is what surrounds him, a swarm of deformed demons attacking from every direction. These are creatures straight out of a medieval nightmare. Some have scaly bodies like fish, others have leathery wings, sharp fangs, claws, horns, bulging eyes. There are crab legs, bird beaks, tentacles wrapping around his robe, and they all seem to move at once, circling him like a whirlwind of evil. In the background, there's a rocky landscape, likely inspired by the hills around Florence, which adds a sense of distance and depth. The whole scene floats in a strange atmosphere, somewhere between the real and the supernatural. Now, this painting didn't come from nowhere. Michelangelo was inspired by a woodcut, a print carved from wood, by the German artist Martin Schongauer, who was well known in his time for his dramatic religious visions. Schongauer had already created this scene before, but Michelangelo reinterpreted it. He made it his own. And here's the incredible part. Michelangelo didn't settle for simply copying what he saw in the print. He wanted the demons to feel real. So he went to the market in Florence, observed fish, reptiles, birds, and mentally noted their textures, shapes, and colors. The scales you see on the monsters, those silvery green reflections, he learned those from staring at the back of a fish. The beaks, the claws, even the bulging eyes, they came from real life, not imagination. And he was only 12 years old. Another striking detail is the use of color. Unlike the original woodcut, which was in black and white, Michelangelo adds a stormy sky with grey and bluish tones, creating a sense of height and vertigo. St. Anthony's robe, a dark, heavy tunic, reinforces his stoic presence in the midst of chaos. The demons, on the other hand, are painted in almost sickly colors that highlight their grotesque energy. There's a perfect balance between the chaos of the attack and the inner calm of the saint. But here's the strange part. For a long time, this painting wasn't recognized as a work by Michelangelo. No one believed he could have painted it. It stayed that way for centuries, passing from hand to hand, with no clear signature, no known story behind it. It was a powerful painting, yes, but no one imagined it was the first work of one of the most important artists in history. Michelangelo's first painting went unnoticed for over 500 years, hidden in plain sight, until one small detail changed everything. But before we continue, I'd like to remind you that if you'd like to have this painting in your own collection, you can now purchase it from our website. By ordering from the store, you'll receive a reproduction as faithful as possible to the original, and shipping is free to anywhere in the world. If you're an art lover, I invite you to visit the catalog and discover more than 600 selected historical paintings. If you'd like to support the channel and own a piece of art in your home, I'll leave the link in the description so you can place your order. Now then, let's continue. The painting was forgotten for centuries, until in 2008 something unexpected happened. The auction house Sotheby's put the work up for sale, and an art dealer named Adam Williams acquired it. At the time, there was no official confirmation about its author, but there were many suspicions. That fall, Williams took the painting to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York to have it examined and cleaned, and that's when the clues began to emerge. Beneath the layers of dirt accumulated over the centuries, a very particular color palette appeared. The tones, the blends, the way the human figure was treated, all of it began to resemble the style Michelangelo would use years later in none other than the Sistine Chapel. The Met's technicians also performed infrared reflectography, a technique that allows researchers to see beneath the paint. What they found were pentimenti, corrections made during the painting process, areas where the artist had changed his mind, scraped off paint, or adjusted figures. This is often a clear sign that a painting is not a copy, but an original work created with artistic freedom. One of the experts who examined the painting was Keith Christiansen, curator at the Met and one of the leading authorities in Renaissance art. In May 2009, he told the New York Times that he firmly believed the painting was by Michelangelo, but the museum wasn't ready to take that leap. Instead, Eric Lee, director of the Kimball Art Museum in Texas, decided to take the risk. He had only been in the position for 2 days when he learned the painting was available. He traveled to New York, analyzed it with his team, and along with Claire Barry, director of conservation at the museum, found not a single convincing argument against the attribution. The purchase was approved, and just like that, the painting became part of the Kimball Museum's collection, becoming the only painting by Michelangelo located anywhere in the Americas, and also one of just 4 easel paintings attributed to him throughout his entire career. A few years later, with more advanced technology, another hidden drawing was discovered beneath the surface, further reinforcing the attribution, and in 2018, the Italian historian Giorgio Bonsanti published key research that definitively confirmed that this was, without a doubt, Michelangelo's first painting.